Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Good evening, I'm Caitlin Coolidge. Thanks for joining us. A suspect tied to the recent fatal shooting on the west side of Athens is headed to prison. Jonathan McLaughlin pled guilty to firearm, drug, and other felony charges. Judges Patrick J. Lang sentenced McLaughlin to 18 years in prison. He'll be subject to 5 years of mandatory post-release control upon release. McLaughlin was one of 4 individuals charged with burglary for allegedly going to Gloucester home and stealing 4 firearms the day before the shooting. 55-year-old Charles Duncan died as a result of the shooting. After his wife and 2 adult sons did the same, a man charged in the Pike County murder is pleading not guilty. 47-year-old George Billy Wagner acknowledged the 22 counts against him, but said little else in court today. The Wagners are charged in the 2016 shootings of 7 adults and a teenager from the Roden family. An attorney and representatives from the Wagners said they'll be vindicated. Billy Wagner was held without bond, as were 26-year-old Edward Jake Wagner and 27-year-old George Wagner and 48-year-old Angela Wagner. Their lawyers and authorities involved are prohibited from publicly discussing their cases. Authorities have suggested a possible motive was a custody dispute over Jake Wagner's daughter with victim Hannah Roden. The Athens Police Department is undergoing an investigation in the death of an infant Sunday night. APD arrived at a Hope Drive residence at 8:25 Sunday night to find an unresponsive infant. EMS attempts to save the infant's life were unsuccessful. The Athens County Coroner's Office says there were no signs of trauma and suspect the sudden infant death syndrome was the cause of death. According to the Ohio government website, from 2012 to 2016, there were 714 sleep-related infant deaths in Ohio, which accounted for 15% of all infant deaths reviewed. We will update this story as it develops at woub.org. Athens County Police say a man led a police chase in a stolen vehicle after robbing a home. The chase was towards State Route 56. The chase ended after the suspect, Timothy Perry, hit a deputy's car and rolled into an embankment. Perry is charged with breaking, entering, assault, and theft of a motor vehicle, along with other charges. Officials say additional charges are expected. Police say a school van operator in Ohio was caught red-handed driving drunk. They say they arrested Andrew Sasala while he was driving a group of special needs students back home last week. Some children had already been dropped off, but there were still 3 special needs students and another adult on board. Officers say Sasala failed the field sobriety tests. Police had received a tip from a Metro Parks employee. They witnessed the driver throw a wine bottle out of the van at a Metro Park in North Railton. Some kids in Cleveland will get their toys for Christmas even though some thieves snatched them. A father who lost his daughter, Anaya Day Garrett, earlier this year was collecting toys for kids in need, but someone broke into the house last month and stole them. As Lacey Chris reports, that's when community activists stepped in.
Grinch will not steal Christmas on our watch, not this year, buddy.
That's right. Grinches broke into Anaya Day Garrett's dad's house, breaking windows, doors, but they went into Anaya's old bedroom, stealing more than 100 toys and cash that were donated to her foundation and were going to be handed out to needy children later this month. Anaya died in March from blunt force trauma to her head. Her mother and mother's boyfriend have been charged in her death.
So we decided together as organizations to come out and do something for the community and ultimately end up with Anaya's dad to really help him. And it's kind of bad what went on, really bad.
Cornelius Bogard came together with other community partners, along with Toys for Tots, to make sure no kid goes without a toy.
It has a major impact on not just his life and what he was doing because of his daughter and the good that he was trying to give back to the community and the children around him, but it also impacts the individual families, which I don't think the person that did this completely realizes.
Were you expecting this?
I was not expecting this. I was not actually, but it's truly, like I said, I'm forever grateful.
Michael Garrett says he is overwhelmed by the love and support from the community.
Truly a blessing. Just to work with other organizations, reaching out to the Justice for Anaya Foundation and just protecting our children.
The toys will be given away during a breakfast with Santa at a local church on December 22nd. An Army veteran is hoping for answers after a donation box for a new memorial was stolen. Someone took his donation box at the Clippard YMCA in Coleraine Township. The box was collecting money for a new veterans memorial near the community center. It vanished last week. Green says it cost $1.6 million to build this memorial, with bricks, a clock tower, an honor tribute bell, and statues and granite benches. He says people have raised about $10,000 since Memorial Day. A task force is recommending flexibility insurance for West Virginia public employees. The subcommittee Sunday fixes to the health insurance program gave recommendations to Governor Jim Justice. The governor's recommendations include removing a $25 copay for out-of-state services and removing facility fee limits from out-of-state facilities. It also would lower the cost-sharing responsibilities on plans in border counties. And Justice says state revenue collections have surpassed tax estimates. It's the 8th consecutive month for this to happen. Justice announced Tuesday that collections in November were $18.8 million above estimates. It pushes year-to-date collections to $141 million above estimates and 13.2% ahead of last year's receipts.
Good evening, I'm Taylor Nimmo. Now, it was a pretty cloudy and gloomy day today in Athens. Right now it is 35 degrees. Now we are seeing a few flurries possible, as we have seen throughout the day today. You might have seen some flurries if you were going to work. Now, around the region, we're seeing about the same thing. 35 degrees in Athens, 33 degrees in New Lexington, 33 in Columbus, 33 in Newark. Now, we will see those temperatures drop overnight tonight. 9 p.m. it's going to be 33 degrees and cloudy. About midnight it's going to be 31 degrees. Now into the early morning, 5 a.m., that's when we're going to start to see some chance for some snow showers increase. So in the early morning, plan ahead if you're hitting the roads early. Give yourself a little bit of extra time, although it shouldn't affect your commute too much. But we will have more on your snow chances and how long this cold is going to be sticking around later on in the show.
All right, well, thank you, Taylor. So Urban Meyer, the coach for Ohio State football, will retire after Ohio State plays in the Rose Bowl. Brian Kerp is here with the latest. So Brian, why is he retiring?
Meyer says it is a series of factors that led to him stepping down. He says his headaches have become a persistent problem. He also says he is not sure he is able to coach at the intense, demanding level he has used for more than 30 years. Meyer was suspended for 3 games at the start of the season for his handling of domestic violence allegations against a now fired assistant coach. He says the investigation of him also played a role in his decision. Ohio State Athletic Director Gene Smith says Meyer will be staying with the university in a new capacity, working with coaches and players. He was not specific about the role.
All right, and an assistant coach, Ryan Day, will succeed Myers. But that isn't the only Columbus sports news.
Yeah. An Ohio judge isn't dismissing a lawsuit trying to keep the Crew soccer team in Columbus. The Columbus Dispatch reports a judge denied the team's in Major League's request to dismiss the suit. The lawsuit was brought by the city of Columbus in the state of Ohio. The lawsuit argues a Crew proposal to relocate to Austin, Texas didn't comply with state law. It says Ohio sports teams using publicly supported facilities must give 6 months' notice and allow cities or residents a chance to buy the team.
All right, well, thank you, Brian, and we'll see you later for the local sportscast. And coming up, hackers have attacked more top political officials. Which party was affected by the hack this time? To go to the Capitol where George H.W. Bush lies in state. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
Officials are investigating the email hacking of top officials at the campaign arm for House Republicans during the 2018 midterm election cycle. A Republican official with knowledge of the intrusion tells CNN that the hack was discovered by a vendor in April after emails from 4 senior aides at the National Republican Congressional Committee were surveilled for several months. An internal investigation was initiated and the FBI was altered. House Republicans ultimately lost around 40 seats in last month's election, losing their majority to Democrats. President George H.W. Bush continues to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol, where he was visited by both the public and small groups of people that were important to the president. Natasha Chen on Capitol Hill with the latest on how the country continues to honor its 41st president.
Everyday Americans, influential leaders, and family all continue to honor the life and service of President George H.W. Bush.
There's a time for politics and there's a time for governing, but there's also a time for reflection. And this is a time for reflection for our country to think about the values that make our country great.
Taking the time for that reflection today on Capitol Hill, current and several former heads of the CIA as a group paid their respects to the man who served as the 11th director of the Central Intelligence Agency. And some of the military leaders of Operation Desert Storm who served under President Bush, including Colin Powell, said Bush was very deliberate in how he planned for war.
He cared about every single soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine we sent over there. And he wanted us to finish the war quickly and to get out of Iraq and back home and away from Kuwait quickly.
Others who paid their respects included members of the president's personal Secret Service detail and the president's service dog, Sully, who appeared alongside other beneficiaries of the Americans with Disabilities Act, a law President Bush signed in 1990.
It changed the lives of so many people with disabilities, myself included, and it still is one of the most profound legacies of his presidency.
President Bush will continue to lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda until tomorrow morning, when a procession will take him to the Washington National Cathedral for a national funeral service. In Washington, I'm Natasha Chen.
Bush's funeral will be held on Thursday at 11 a.m. He will then be laid to rest at 5:15 p.m. that day. Former Vice President Joe Biden just gave the strongest indication yet that he may run for president in 2020. It came during a book tour stop in Montana. Biden said, quote, "I'll be as straight with you as I can. I think I'm the most qualified person in the country to be president." In addressing his qualifications, Biden said the issues facing the nation today are the same ones he's been working on for a lifetime. He said those issues include foreign policy and the plight of the middle class. Biden added that his decision will be coming within the next 2 months and that he will make the decision together with his family. A group announced performances with a flash mob in Baker Center. That story still ahead.
In cloudy skies in the forecast, when you can expect to finally see some sunshine again, we'll have all those details for you on your 7-day forecast coming up next on Newswatch. But first, let's take a look at your stocks of local interest.
member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
I love PBS because at the heart of everything PBS does is education.
I use PBS not only in my home, but also in my classroom.
It's kind of the idea of being the great equalizer for learning and for education.
I'm a lifelong learner, and PBS has always been part of that journey for me.
I love PBS because PBS supports teachers.
They know what works for kids and what's best for kids, and that's why I love PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Good evening. A cloudy and cold day today in Athens, and that seemed to be the theme for the day today, and that's going to be the theme for the next couple of days. We got some cold and gloomy days ahead, unfortunately. Right now it's 35 degrees and cloudy. Now we have a few flurries possible throughout the night, and we have seen flurries throughout the day today. You may have seen a couple of little snow showers throughout the day when you were out and about. Now, if we look around the region, we're seeing temperatures in the mid-30s, 34 in Chillicothe, 34 in Jackson, 36 in Ironton, and 33 in Newark. Now, if we look at our almanac for today, we're just a little bit below the average high for today. 38 is our high, and the 45 degrees is the average high for today. Now, low, we are right on the money, 28 degrees. We're exactly at the average for today at this time of year. Now, our records, 80 degrees in 1982 and 11 degrees in 1989. Now, we saw that sunset was progressively getting earlier, 5:04 tonight, so it's starting to get darker earlier and earlier, it seems. Now, throughout the night tonight, 9 p.m., 33 degrees and cloudy, and we're going to see that temperature drop just slightly throughout the night. Midnight, 31 degrees and cloudy. Now, as we near tomorrow morning, that's when we're going to start to see the chance for snow showers increase. 40% chance around 5 a.m. So if you're heading out early, make sure you keep that in mind for your commute to work, although it shouldn't cause too much accumulation, so you should be good to go for your drive, but keep it in mind and maybe head out a little bit early. Now, tomorrow, you're going to need the coats, the gloves, the hats. Get it all out because it's 30 degrees tomorrow when you're heading off to work or school. Winds will be calm out of the west at 4 miles per hour. However, it's going to be cold tomorrow pretty much throughout the rest of the day tomorrow. Now, if we look at the precipcast, this blue and green mix right here, this is rain and snow mix, and that's that flurries that are just going to be lingering around into the day tomorrow. But you can see some high pressure off to the east. That will keep things fairly calm, as we will just see some cloudy days tomorrow with also some chances of flurries. Now tomorrow, can you believe this? This is our high, 34 degrees and cloudy for tomorrow. As we saw before, you will see some few flurries here and there tomorrow, but nothing too extreme, and also some pretty calm winds at 5 miles per hour. Now, as we look at your weekend, unfortunately, you're going to want to get your hot chocolate and just head indoors because it's going to be pretty brutally cold throughout this weekend. Although Friday, high of 36, we will see some sunshine, so at least some sunny skies, and get a break from those cloudy days that we've been seeing. Saturday, high of 35, mostly cloudy, and Sunday, 38 and cloudy. Now, if we look at our extended forecast, we see some colder temperatures than we've been seeing. 60 on this past Sunday. Now we're seeing temperatures lows in the 20s. And now we will see some sunshine on Friday, like we said, but we are going to see some gloomy days into early next week. Now the highs will be in the 30s for the majority of the week next week as well. So unfortunately, it's going to be some colder days ahead. So just brace yourselves for those winter days.
All right, well, thank you, Taylor. All right, so more beef has been recalled due to salmonella contamination. More than 5 million pounds of raw beef products have been added to the initial recall from back in October. The brands of beef include Kroger, Cedar River Farms, Grass Run Farms, and JBS Generic. According to the USDA, the recalled beef was produced and packaged between July 26th and September 7th and distributed nationwide. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports 246 people have gotten sick in 25 states since November 15th. There are no reported deaths, and if you have any of the recalled beef, you should throw it away or return it to the store you bought it from. And another recall, this time for puppy and dog food. It's because of toxic levels of vitamin D. Last week's recall included Sunshine Mills, Involved for Puppies, Sportsman's Pride for large breed puppies, and Triumph Chicken and Rice. Now the recall has expanded to more brands, including Nutricia, Natural Life, Abound, and Nature's Promise. Check out the FDA's website for a complete list of brands, and if you bought any of these recalled products, you can return them to the seller for a refund.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Brian Kerp. Coming up in sports, 2 Ohio basketball players received MAC Weekly honors. Find out who later on. And right after the break, Ohio football head coach Frank Solich breaks down Ohio's bowl matchup with San Diego State. All that and more coming up on Newswatch. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
A box that showed you This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Welcome back, I'm Brian Kerp. The Ohio football team is set to travel to Texas to participate in the Frisco Bowl against San Diego State on December 19th. Head coach Frank Solich previews the Bobcats game with the Aztecs.
We're getting an opportunity to play a very, very good football team. They're really from the West Coast, which we don't get a chance to match up with teams of that nature very often. So it should be a great football game, and I think it'll be in a good atmosphere.
We go from the gridiron to the hardwood. Ohio men's basketball sophomore forward Jason Carter was named the MAC East Division Co-Player of the Week. Carter helped guide the Bobcats to 2 wins last week. On Tuesday, he finished with 20 points and went 8 for 15 from the field against Iona. He also grabbed 6 rebounds. On Saturday against Marshall, Carter scored 25 points and 12 rebounds, which tied a career high. Bobcats head coach Saul Phillips discusses his impact on the team.
Good shots, and his teammates do a good job of setting them up. And he's very patient offensively. It's not like he's just cramming it down your throat every possession. He picks and chooses his spots, but he's done a great job he's scoring in a lot of different ways. He's scoring off the pass, he's scoring off the bounce, he's scoring on spot ups, he's scoring in the post. He's just a very versatile player.
There was also an Ohio women's basketball player that got conference recognition for her performance this past week. Junior guard Amani Burke was named the MAC East Division Player of the Week. On Saturday, Burke led all scorers with 17 points and added 5 rebounds and 3 assists to help propel the Bobcats to a 72-54 win over Cleveland State. Burke discusses why she has become one of the Bobcats' top scorers this season.
Just a lot of faith. I prayed a lot about it. I just shot a lot more when I was open and just had more confidence, I feel like I wasn't very confident last year in my shot, and I feel like now I just let it fly. And that's what he wants. He doesn't want me to think. He wants me to catch and shoot if I'm open. If I'm not open, then hurry up and pass it, do an offensive move or things of that such. So.
Burke and the Bobcats are preparing for arguably their toughest matchup of the year when they welcome Purdue to the Convo tomorrow night. Bobcats head coach Bob Bolin talks about what to expect from Purdue.
So, we're going to get a great effort out of Purdue tomorrow. They're a team that plays hard. They're well coached. They run a ton of stuff, and they're going to come in here with the intent to beat us, as does everybody. And we got to make sure that we have those same intentions.
The game is set to tip off at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Last night, there were 4 girls' basketball games involving Tri-Valley Conference teams. Despite a late comeback by the Athens Bulldogs, the Wellston Rockets came away with a 53-44 win. 11 of Wellston's 18 first-half points came from the free throw line. Federal Hawken came away with a 31-point win against South Gallia. Paige Tolson led the Lancers with 22 points. Alexander defeated the River Valley Raiders in lopsided fashion, with the final score being 72-10. Lastly, Vinton County defeated the Megs Marauders 67-63. I'm Brian Kerp, and that's it for sports. Back over to you, Caitlin.
A flash mob dance in the middle of Baker Center and Ohio University with the accompaniments of drummers. The group was promoting the Global Arts Festival, which will be April 1st to the 5th. It will include music and dance workshop performances, lectures, films, showings, and much more.
All right, let's take one last final look at your weekend weather. Now, Friday, we will get some sunshine after a couple days of clouds. 36 is your high for Friday, 35 degrees on Saturday and mostly cloudy, 38 on Sunday and cloudy. So it's going to be a relatively cold weekend this weekend. So keep that in mind if you have any outdoor plans. Now, we do have some cold days to look ahead to next week. Wednesday and Thursday are looking pretty cloudy. And this weekend is going to be pretty cold, so keep that in mind with lows in the 20s. We are going to have to brace ourselves because the winter weather is here to stay, it looks like.
Thank you, Taylor. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.